This here is South London. At the time it was good. It was peace. We loved the ends. It was our home. We used to play after school. A bit of football in the streets. Chucking pennies against the wall. Run out, playing tag. This was our manor. This was our ends. And at the time it was good. How were we to know what once was our safe haven had become Claptown? An unemotional bricks and mortar, burnt derelict buildings, estate buildings with a face of gloom, all had been built with troubled stone which crumbles from a child's fingertips. This was now our home, level, with rebels at war, fathers who fear their children's children of men, warriors some of honor, some of evil, child soldiers born in post-war Britain. Before I continue, I want to bring to your attention 4 characters. Enter! The Butcher's Son. That's the man of beef, the man of war, the venomous Ute. That brother there eats of his blick, sleeps of his blicks. It's just an extension of his hand. He was known on road as the Butcher's Son, and he came from South London. Now, second, I'd like to bring to your attention is the caretaker. The caretaker had keys upon keys of Popo and Yayo, from Purple Haze to Jack Herrer. This was the boy you'd go to for food. He was from East London. Enter the Broomstick Kid, also known as a shop floor sweep. You'd see him at the ends of the black crossfire. They called him the Broomstick Kid because, let's just say, he was a youth who specialised in blitzes, from reballs to itsy bitsy 22s which fit inside your shoes. He was from North London. Last but not least, enter the Transporter. Now this youth was a Butcher's Son's brethren. Together they kidnapped many men and had a bounty on their heads which couldn't be cleared for love nor money. The Transporter himself came from West London, and they ran the streets like leviathans. You'd feel a cold wind blow when his youths were on road car. It wasn't God's involvement, it was purely man's them rolling. However, tonight, one man is a killer. It's up to you to find who. It was a cold Thursday night in Dollis Hill, North London. A black car with tinted windows remains ghostly parked. On a closer look, its rims still spinning, like a penny spun between an index and a thumb. Tonight, however, is different. There's a huge drought in the city. No one has anything to blaze, and tempers are beginning to raise. No one can find any food at all. Even the biggest shotters at the ends are feeling like pricks. Blood, I swear down, the entire city was in a drought. Along with the drought, there was a whisper on the ends, a circulating rumour in the hood which states, if the food is ready, the Butcher's Son wants it. The problem was, once someone worked it out, by then it was too late. The Butcher's Son, a master at jacking and fleecing shotters, he'd kidnap them and most times leave them stranded naked halfway down the M1. He worked in many mysterious ways. You said the average shotter would easily fall victim to prey. The Butcher's Son's got gash and was a local gallus. He had different gash in different ends, scattered up and down the UK. There wasn't a single estate he didn't have his claws in. Many would do all they could do to prove their loyalty to him, even if it means setting up a boy or two. They were his spies, and they set boy up after boy by calling on private numbers, begging for bedders and scores. Then when the shotter went down to meet them, they'd be subjected to brutal savagery and become victims of class known as a jack move. Welcome to the Butcher's Shop. Now the Butcher's Son's closest brethren was the Transporter. In all honesty, I have no idea why they called him the Transporter, as he was more like the kidnapper's assistant. His eyes were cold, his heart frozen but loyal. He both respected and gave full oaths to the Butcher's Son. This leads me on to a slight twist to the story. You see, the drought was still only knee-deep. There was still one major shotter who consistently evaded the butcher's shop. He was the caretaker. He was unseen, unheard of, simply a ghost. No one knew of his whereabouts. No matter how much he was targeted, they just couldn't get to him. They tried everything, from scare tactics to trying to provide better green. He stood face to face with the infamous Butcher's honey trap. Now the Butcher's Son had beef with the caretaker and came up with an infallible plot. Visha was beautiful. She had the body, perfect body, voluptuous meets athletic, brown skin, sunlit brown eyes, everything from the ends. Everyone knew about her. But she was after goods and material. She would only deal with the top boys, and only they got a chance to move to it. The butcher's son's plan was to use Zisha to set him up. The honey trap operation. She made a call that Thursday night.
What are you saying?
What are you saying? Do you know me?
Do you want to know me?
Well, that depends, innit?
Depends on what?
Well, first of all, it depends on who you are.
Come link me and find out, yeah?
Yeah.
Where are you?
South, innit? But you gotta let me know more about you.
Let's chat this face to face.
You see, what they didn't know was the caretaker was simply bisexual. Some went as far to say he had no interest in girls whatsoever. That's why he never even flinched at the honey trap operation. But just as time heals, so do the walls talk, and it wasn't long before the walls of the ghetto and the estate began whispering. You see, it didn't take long for the Ents to know of his secret. Because he was constantly popping off boxes and was known for having pee, he had harbored and caused a certain level of, let's say, jealousy. But the real jealousy came from his lover, who was the older brother of an infamous shotter, but not the shotter of food. No, this boy was a shotter of weaponry. You see, the jealousy was no longer a business issue. The jealousy came from a much more of a personal perspective. For the caretaker, it was a normal day. He just got his whip back from West London, a mechanic he used to know on the roads. So he's back on the ends doing what he does best. It wasn't long before the butcher's son got a private call on his mobile.
What, blood, you looking for the caretaker, yeah? I'll show you how to get to him.
What, who's this calling me, blood?
Watch that. You want the caretaker?
Yeah, cuz.
I got that. You found him on the ends of the bends in the dark. I swear down, when you see him...
Don't worry, man will spark. But hold on, who are you and how'd you get my number?
Your friend, blood, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all know you're the butcher.
What ends are you talking?
Blood, you're a joke till you know where he's rolling.
Well, what time will he be showing?
About 3 in the morning, coming from a rave.
Whereabouts?
Up in Croydon.
That was more than a signal for the butcher's son. He was eager and yearning to jack this brother and strip him of all his assets. That night, based on a tip-off, the butcher's son received he sat there in a whip with 3 men, no blitzes, 2 shacks up. Waited and waited, but he didn't see anyone turn up. What he did notice is his brethren's car pull up, which was a black Crossfire. It's got to be his car. There's only one in the estate. He went towards the car, took about 10 steps, noticed his brethren a transporter in a car. He went to reach for the windscreen. Just as he touched the windscreen with his fingertips, he heard a shot. It rang like... He felt no pain, just a sharp sting, and placed his fingertips on his forehead, noticed blood, and fell as he laid back, helpless. He looked up at the estate building and noticed one window of a light. He could almost feel his body rising towards it, until all he could see and feel was the light. Whoever caused this man's death had something to do with this estate. A key turns in ignition from a hand covered by a black golf glove, with the letters too distant to read. A wheel spins and the black Crossfire pulls off, and quickly wings out the estate. Back to the caretaker. Coincidentally, he also received a call around the same time from his brethren in Shoot 'em Up Hill, North London. The Broomstick Kid. Enter the shop floor.
What's going on, blood? You cool? Level, brethren, I'm easy.
What, you still want to sweep up?
Yeah, blood, I need something to clean. What? No bodies, please.
Yeah, no worries.
Alright then. Easy. What?
He then drives down to pick up his weaponry. He parks on the 3rd floor. 3rd car along in a multi-story car park. The engine switches off. A door unlocks. The Broomstick Kid, who's always been cool with the caretaker, jumps in, shows him what he's working with, from baby pearl handle 22s that fit inside your shoes and make their way past any Ministry of Sound bouncer to the big old Mac 10s where the bullets are incredibly hard to find. He didn't favor either. He wanted a little shiny with no bodies on it, as by now he knows that the butcher's son is after him. He's got to find a way to protect himself and deal with the beef accordingly. But what he didn't know was that seconds from now, the butcher's son was already dead. He eventually finds 2 he likes. 2 gloves spot each other. One of the men wears a white leather glove, the other a black one. You see, the reason behind the caretaker's beef is based on a single connection to his past. We don't exactly know what that is. It could have been an ex-lover, it could have been an old enemy. He knew exactly where to find the transporter, as he had built himself from an ode to a box in West London. That's where he used to work as a mechanic trainee in a car showroom. That night he had to drive from the A309. He'd always been a speed freak, only that night was tragically different. He noticed the more he pressed on the brakes, the less reaction he felt. There was absolutely no reaction. The engine was working, but the brakes were not. He was going too fast and caught a glimpse of just how scared he was from a reflection of his eyes in the rearview mirror. He slammed right into an articulated lorry of flammable liquids. For a moment there was nothing but a small implosion, and he felt at ease. Then an explosion, and it was complete fiery oblivion.
What, is he dead?
Yeah, cuz it's done.
Well, alright, then it's official, fam.
Yeah, cuz that's what I'm talking
What, you still parked downstairs?
Yeah, but I'm down here still.
Alright, see.
Run.
You see, both the caretaker and the butcher's son are now dead. Now, we know the caretaker was subject to a lot of jealousy, but this is a question I pose to you. Broomstick Kid and the transporter survived. One was a pawn, the other was a killer. But which one? You see, I leave it to you to use all the clues to work out who, but more importantly why, that Thursday night so many had to die.